love is not in the air. As China's economy sputters, fewer and fewer people are getting married and having kids. The Chinese Communist Party doesn't believe no means no. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. More Chinese women are choosing to stay single. And stay tuned till the end, because I'll tell you how that could have devastating consequences for the Chinese Communist Party. Now, first of all, I'm focusing on Chinese women choosing to stay single, because Chinese men don't have a choice. There are 30 million more men than women in China. It's particularly bad in rural areas. There's almost 475 unmarried men for every 100 unmarried women. The reason for this gender imbalance is because for decades, China had a one-child policy. Since boys were preferred, that led to a huge amount of sex-selective abortions. In other words, since the Communist Party only allowed you to have one child, baby girls were killed so families could try again for a boy. Communism does wonderful things for a society. But why are women choosing to stay single, rather than just having their pick of the men? Well, according to Reuters, a growing number of educated women facing unprecedented insecurity amid record youth unemployment and an economic downturn are espousing singleism. And the numbers are shocking. According to official data, in 2021, China's single population over 15 years of age hit a record 239 million. Marriage registrations hit a historic low in 2022, only rebounding slightly after pandemic lockdowns ended. And a 2021 Communist Youth League survey found 44% of women do not plan to marry. Part of the problem is just how bad China's economy has gotten. As China's real estate sector, which makes up a third of China's GDP, collapses, and youth unemployment hit record highs, people are doing some crazy things just to get by. Some are choosing to be full-time children, paid by their parents to do chores and live at home, which might be more appealing than the search for bedmates, which is where young Chinese people literally have to share a room and a bed with strangers just to afford to live in China's megacities. So for many, marriage, and what's really important to the Communist Party, children, are just out of the picture. We're seeing the singleism trend on Chinese social media. Posts with the hashtag "no marriage, no children" from female influencers, often in their 30s or 40s, on Xiaohongshu, China's Instagram, regularly gain thousands of likes. One anti-marriage forum on Douban, another social media platform, has 9,200 members, while another dedicated to singleism has 3,600 members who discuss collective retirement plans, among other topics. Singleism is also tying into other social movements among Chinese youth, like the lying flat movement. It was a popular hashtag on Chinese social media that basically encouraged young people to give up on the intense struggle of Chinese society and just lie flat. Or the let it rot movement, which is like lying flat, but with an added level of cynicism. Let it rot means to let things that are already beyond repair deteriorate. Sounds like things are going great in China. One of these women who is choosing to stay single told Reuters many who got married in previous generations, especially women, sacrificed themselves and their career development and didn't get the happy life they were promised. Living my own life well is difficult enough nowadays. Another said, "I think it's okay to date or cohabit, but children are a huge asset investment with minimal returns." Wow, can you imagine? A communist society doesn't value family. Another woman told the Wall Street Journal the demands of caring for aging relatives and her job as an exhibition designer in Shenzhen leave no room for kids or a husband. All she wants to do in her free moments is read or scroll through pet videos. Wow. Hashtag relatable. But while you might think the decision of whether or not to get married is just a matter of personal choice, the Chinese Communist Party has a little less friendly attitude toward personal choice. I'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. So, more and more Chinese women are choosing to stay single. But while you may see an individual with individual choices, the Chinese Communist Party sees a baby-making factory. And production has fallen behind. According to official numbers, even after the end of the one-child policy, birth rates continued to drop. In 2012, there were 16 million births. Just a decade later, that number fell to less than 10 million. The Wall Street Journal says China is headed toward a demographic collapse. China's population, now around 1.4 billion, is likely to drop to just around 500 million by 2100, according to some projections. Women are taking the blame. You see, the party saw this coming. That's why it ended the one-child policy. First, by allowing people to have 2, then 3 kids. Yes, they still haven't given up control, they just allow 3 kids. But so the party prepared for a huge baby boom. But people didn't bite. New maternity wards were built only to close a few years later. Sales of baby care products, including formula and diapers, have dropped. Businesses that focused on babies now target seniors. New preschools built to make child-rearing more affordable struggle to fill classrooms, and many have closed. So this is a problem, but the solution is just a little bit of Communist Party intervention in people's lives. I mean, a decade ago, they were forcing women to have abortions and sterilizations. So what's wrong with doing a complete 180 and encouraging a little baby making? Xi Jinping has been talking about the need to actively cultivate a new culture of marriage and childbearing and strengthen guidance on young people's view on marriage, childbirth, and family. You see, young people might have the wrong views, so they need the Communist Party to guide them to the right thinking. Chinese Premier Li Qiang has been talking about working towards a birth-friendly society. Xi even gave a speech at the All China Women's Federation, the Chinese Communist Party's official feminist organization. Yes, let that sink in. According to an official printout of his speech, Xi told the feminist organization to prevent and resolve risks in the women's field. What does that mean? Well, according to Clyde E. Chung Wong, an assistant professor of politics at Washington and Lee University, who studies Chinese government propaganda, it's clear that he was not talking about risks faced by women, but considering women as a major threat to social stability. That could be why the All China Women's Federation, again, China's official feminist organization, coined the term leftover women, women who didn't get married before the age of 27 and are now too old. Here's something they wrote in March 2011, right after International Women's Day.
Pretty girls don't need a lot of education to marry into a rich and powerful family, but girls with an average or ugly appearance will find it difficult. These kinds of girls hope to further their education in order to increase their competitiveness. The tragedy is they don't realize that as women age, they are worth less and less. So by the time they get their MA or PhD, they are already old, like yellowed pearls.
China's official feminist organization. But the Communist Party is taking more direct action. For instance, government-organized matchmaking events and government Valentine's Day messages such as wishing you sweet love and marriage at an appropriate age. Let's extend the Chinese bloodline. Whew, if that doesn't get you in the mood, I don't know what will. Though people apparently didn't respond well to that. The message drew a backlash on social media. My mother-in-law doesn't even push me to have a second child, one person wrote. I guess next, arranged marriages will come back, another commented. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, the CCP forced women to have abortions and sterilization. We may already be seeing the beginning of a more forceful attitude toward marriage and childbirth. In 2021, the city of Luenzhou asked unmarried people to sign up for a government-sponsored dating initiative that uses big data to find matches citywide. If birth rates don't go up, what do you think the CCP will do with that data? Now, as I mentioned earlier, people have been posting on Chinese social media about singlism, and there's already a crackdown on that. The All China Women's Federation is actively preventing gender-related topics from going viral. In fact, they paid more to a tech company to police social media comments than its budget for women's advocacy. China's official feminist organization. And China's official internet watchdog, is policing content that they say is spreading wrong values and spreading incorrect views on marriage and relationships and deliberately creating gender opposition. Yes, by saying women have a choice in getting married and having kids. Again, keep in mind that just a few years ago, women having a second child had to run and hide from the government lest they force them to murder their child and force the parents to pay huge fines. That would make me want to lie flat too. The Chinese Communist Party would love to keep all this under wraps. That's why they hate China Uncensored. They even wrote about me in state-run media, calling China Uncensored disgraceful anti-China garbage. But with YouTube suppressing the show, I can't afford to keep making China Uncensored. Making the show and paying my staff isn't cheap, and the CCP would love it if I had to shut down the show. That's why I need your help. All it takes is $1 or more an episode on patreon.com/China Uncensored. I make about 16 episodes a month, but if that's too much for you, you can set a monthly limit. So you could ensure I keep uncensoring China for even $1 a month. And as a thank you to everyone who gives on Patreon, I'll answer one of your questions at the end of these episodes. Today's question comes from, longtime supporter James Wahlberg. Chris, when the CCP falls, will you still dislike pandas? Do you think the new government would continue panda politics? Now that is a great question. So I have a running gag on the show that I hate pandas, but also secretly love them. That joke comes from how the party has used pandas, what's actually called panda diplomacy. China may lend out pandas to other countries, and they aren't cheap. A zoo will have to spend $10 million renting one panda. And if they have babies, China charges a cub tax of $400,000. And those little cuties have to be shipped back to China when they turn 3. But say a country does something the CCP doesn't like, then the party will take back those pandas. Like when China took back a US panda because then President Obama met with the Dalai Lama. So, what happens if the CCP falls? Will I begrudgingly admit I love pandas and their stupid, cute, adorable little faces? Let me put it this way. If I can call a panda a fellow American, you bet. But as long as that black and white coat covers a dirty red, then you can forget about it. Thank you for your question, and again, for your longtime support. James, I love that question. Join James in making the CCP furious by supporting China Uncensored on Patreon. Just click on that orange button. And if you didn't know, I have a new gaming channel called Gamers Unbeaten. Check out the latest episode, a tribute to Akira Toriyama and Dragon Ball. Let me know what you think. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.